Hello again, and welcome to Clear Skies Retirement with Jay Kirkwood at Secure Financial Management. This is a show where we sit down and talk about the subject of retirement. And if you're kind of getting there and you wonder how it's all going to work, you see some of your friends retire, you see some of your family retire, and you wonder, how's this all going to work out for me? Well, let's talk through some of those issues today. Jay is here. How are you doing today?
Well, summer is really here now, isn't it, Randy? It had been really nice up until recently, but
Yeah.
it was not going to last.
It's very true. It is July, August in Texas. Yeah, you're going to have some heat. That is for sure. But we want to heat up your retirement, so to speak. Here, that's what this show is all about, and helping you out with what the concerns that you might have. Mm-hmm. And what I always say, my dad bought a boat. At what he always dreamed of buying a boat. And if you want to find out what it's like to be a boat owner, talk to a boat owner because it wasn't too long before he was going, I don't think I should have bought this boat. So one of the things about retirement, if you want to find out what it's like, ask somebody in retirement. So that was a survey that was out there. And one of the questions was, will your 401k be an income source in retirement? They asked people who were working. 83% of them said, of course, I'm going to use my 401k as income. Then they asked the people in retirement, and only 45% said yes. I thought that's really weird. Why would that be? So the article went on to say retirees tend to want to live off growth, and their 401k was not giving them the growth that they thought it would, so they don't really consider it a big income source in retirement. They're peeling money off of their assets in order to live. So, Jay, we get a paycheck every 2 weeks. That's how we lived for 40 years. Do we have to get used to peeling money off of accounts in order to live in retirement? Can we make that transition? Is it difficult, or do we have to make that transition?
Right. Circling back to your first comment, they say the same thing about planes. You know what they say about boats and planes?
Yeah.
Second best day is when you buy it. The best day is when you sell it.
There it is.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, look, this is something we talk about on the show a lot, right? It's the mindset transition from being in work mode, which for a lot of people has been 30, 40 years, right? By the time they get to retirement, it's being in that work mode and now getting in retirement mode. And I just had this conversation earlier this week with a client who she ended up retiring earlier than she wanted to, which just compounds this kind of issue because you can't mentally warm up to it, right? She was laid off. I mean, she's going to be fine financially. That's not the issue, but she kind of wasn't ready for it. And we've had several meetings with her over the last 6 to 9 months or so. And it's the whole thing of, like, am I going to be okay? Are you sure I'm going to be okay? Okay, just one more check. Are you? And we can show her the numbers every day.
Yeah.
Right. It's about accepting it for yourself. And I said to her, this is what you're going through right now. You were in work mindset for 30, 40 years. And before I could get much into it, she's like, yeah, I heard it on the podcast. I know you said it all the time. I was like, all right, that's one listener we've got on the podcast. Yeah.
Love it.
But yeah, she's like, yeah, I know. And I know that that's what I'm dealing with. It's just good to hear it from you. Right. And I've been receiving a paycheck every 2 weeks. And it's also, where are you spending your time? Well, when you're working, it's 40 plus hours at the office, and you've been contributing to your 401k, and it's all being grow, invest, which is good. That's what it should have been. That was the job of your 401k at that time. You contribute to it. Your employer contributes to it. Get it aggressive. Grow it while you have the opportunity to do that. But now the job of that 401k is a different job. Now it is funding your retirement. And I even said this to her. I said, what was the point of doing all that if you're not going to use it? She's like, yeah, I know. And it's just, she needs to hear it again. And there would be a lot of people listening to us now that would be going through something different. And it's that mind shift of, and this is why most people move their 401k, right? If all it is growth, most 401ks have a handful of good aggressive options, get it in there. That's the role of it. I get it. Now it's, I'm not working anymore. I need to to live off this, and I want to live off this. I want to benefit from all the hard work and sacrifice it took to build this. And yes, I do want a bit of growth, but I can't stick my neck out there as much as I used to. I want some of it protected. I'd like a bit of income. There's all these things you're requiring of this investment now, and most 401ks we see don't have the options inside of it to achieve that. And that's why they move. And typically, when we run into the situation of, my 401k is there, but I'm not using it, like I'm kind of nervous about it, it's still in the 401k. There's no guidance. No one's helping them with it. And it's that nerve-wracking, well, I don't have a plan, so I'll just leave it. I'll just leave it. And they're not living the life they could.
I think that 401k was built to store money and grow money. That 401k does not have the pieces in it to give you income every week or every 2 weeks or every month in retirement. So to move money from a 401k over to another financial vehicle, your own brokerage firm, some kind of an fixed rate annuity kind of thing, or just something that pays you is something that I think is an important conversation that you need to have. How do I get paid in retirement? If you know the answer to that, congratulations. Most of us don't. Let's get you the answer to that question. Give Jay and the team a call at Secure Financial Management. Here's the number, 210-985-6200. The Get Me to Retirement 5-step process is right there on the website, which is retire210.com. Sitting down, talking through things, reviewing what you want to do. Are you set for retirement? Do you have the income that you need? Let's have that conversation. No cost, no obligation. Retire210.com or 210-985-6200. So there's an interesting thing that's happening right now. Every time you look at Social Security or any article about it, it says, wait as long as you can because your check gets bigger every year. So what people are doing now is they're getting to about 65. They're filing for Medicare. And then there might be a couple of years in there that they want to, they want to retire, but they don't want to file for Social Security yet. They want the biggest check possible. So they're taking their savings, they're taking their 401k, and they're using it as kind of a bridge to get to wherever they want to be on that Social Security filing, 67, 68, maybe even 70. So is that math make sense? Pulling money out of performance in order to live to get you to a higher Social Security payment. What do you think of that one?
Yeah, so what you're talking about is you're spending your more at-risk money, I guess, right, earlier, and then relying on that Social Security later. There's 1,000 different ways you can view this, right? Like what's right for an individual for you is different from somebody else, Randy. This is what I would say is that might be the plan people have. Very few people actually do that.
Really?
Okay, because it's just what we see, right? It's something like 70 or 80% of people file at some stage before their full retirement age, which for most people now is 67, right? So getting out to 70 is even less likely. If you're still working, different, right? Different story, right? But very different. But the people that wait, very few. When we do our planning, when we put a plan together for a client, we say to them, hey, unless you have strong feelings about this, we're going to use age 62 as when you take Social Security in this plan. And there's, most people, before you get to Social Security, it's like, yeah, whatever. That's good enough. We'll discuss it when the time comes. Some people will be like, yeah, okay, that's fine. What makes you do that? And I'll say, well, there's a very scientific reason. That's just what most people do. That's what we see over and over again. And occasionally someone will be like, no, I'm definitely waiting to full retirement age. I'm definitely waiting till 70. Well, that's cool. Like we can use that number. No problem whatsoever. I haven't had anybody do it yet. I haven't had anybody actually wait because this is the thing, right? This is the other side of the coin to look at. And what you're saying is right. If you go out there and you Google, when should I take Social Security? Well, first of all, that information that's coming to you, who is that advice for? Some generic person who's not you, firstly, right? Secondly, it's basically all going to say, wait till 70, wait till 70, wait till 70. Yeah, man, if you make it to 90, then that was a good idea. I've got some bad news for you. most of us aren't going to make it to 90. We're just not, right? I think the life expectancy is early 70s or something across the country, or mid 70s across the country, and so most people are not going to break even. A lot of the calculations you see out there, actually all the calculations I've seen out there, what they don't take into account is, well, if I'm taking Social Security and I'm getting $2,000 at 62, that's $2,000 less I have to take from my investment accounts, right? Mm-hmm. Well, that's going to be invested. It's not going to be sitting in a savings account, right? It's not going to be sitting in a CD. So a lot of these calculations just assume that money's sitting under your mattress. Well, that's not the reality, right? We're going to go ahead and we're going to invest it. And this is the final thing, and this comes down to kind of a personal preference for it, but this is what I think, is when I get to Social Security age, assuming I'm not working at 62, I'll probably take it at 62, and this is the reason why. If I don't take my Social Security, the money's got to come from somewhere, right? You're going to live on something. So what that means is I'm delaying a benefit that when I die, the government keeps.
Yeah, you can't pass it along.
Right. And I am draining a resource, my other investments, that my loved ones get to keep if something happens to me, right? Mm-hmm. There's all these other arguments you can make. If it's a couple, you delay, and then they get to stay. Like, there's all these different things you can look at. Those are the simple lenses I look at it, is I want what I have saved to go to the people I love. I don't want to defer a benefit that statistically I'm not going to be able to outlive, right, by delaying it, and then letting the government keep that. It's my simple take.
Makes total sense. And you probably have some feelings about Social Security. Have you ever thought about that one? You can't pass along your Social Security. You can pass along your 401k. Which do you want to dive into first? Interesting conversation, one you can have with Jay and the team at Secure Financial Management. Give Jay a call. Let's get a date on a calendar. Don't put this retirement conversation off any longer. It's time to sit down and do the nuts and bolts here. Actually do the math on your retirement. Here's the website. It's retire210.com. Retire210.com. There's a place for you to put some information in there, and the team will reach out to you. And you'll also see Jay's book. It's called Wall Street's Game, and you can download a chapter of that book, and that'll kind of wet your whistle a little bit. And then as you come in, Jay will give you a copy of Wall Street's Game. And Jay, that book is just kind of a look at what the financial industry is, what you're up against when you go into retirement, and just some of the issues that people have to deal with that they may not really even know. And this has kind of been a compilation that you've seen over the years of all these things people have to deal with.
Yeah, that's right. The vast majority of people who buy that book from Amazon or get a copy of it, however it might be, I'm never going to meet them. But my hope is that they can go into retirement, into interacting with the financial machine essentially built around retirement with just a bit more knowledge. I mean, that's the reason it's called Wall Street's Game. Is it is a game. You don't know the rules and they're not in your favor. Yeah. And that's really what it is. And trying to give people the best level of armament they can have when they go up against this machine.
One of the things I remember Jack Bogle, the guy from Vanguard, once said, why would you want to invest in a situation where you take on all the risk, you put in all the money, but you get about a third of it at the end? And that's kind of what you're up against with all the ups and downs in the financial industry. Let's get you a copy of the book. Go to the website, retire210.com. Start right there. Get an appointment. Get a date on a calendar. Let's talk through it. No cost or obligation there. 210-985-6200. All right, so baseball had their all-star game. That's kind of the mid-year point of the year. And what's interesting about this is as we go through the next couple of weeks, you'll see baseball teams and those who think they're in it, they're going to go out there and they're going to make some moves, for the stretch run to try to get into the playoffs in the World Series. There are other teams that are going, it's not going so well. I think we're going to build for the future. So a lot of adjustments are going to be made in baseball over the next couple of weeks. Let's talk about adjustments to your money. Jay, let's look at this two different ways. If you were sitting down with one of your clients mid-year, let's visit on what's going on with you and your retirement money. There's that checklist. And then there's also another checklist of somebody who comes in for the very first time and you're getting an assessment. Tell me, what boxes are you checking off here?
Yeah. And so you mentioned the All-Star game. That's kind of the midpoint of the year. Our midpoint of the year is, every year we do 2 economic outlooks, and we bring one of our economists in at the start of the year. Hey, this is what the forecast is. We bring a different one in mid-year, and we just had it a couple of weeks ago for, hey, this is what kind of we're seeing now, what we thought was going to happen, what's actually happened, what we see happening for the rest of the year. And our client process is something very similar, right? It's how is the first half of the year gone? How have our investment strategies gone? This is something that most people don't think about reviewing, but we're also looking at, hey, this is what we planned for spending. Have you actually spent that? Or is it a little bit more, and we need to dive into that a little bit more? What's happening with our portfolio? With the markets being strong, this is something we manage for our clients, and we see with people that have come in that it's out of whack and it hasn't been managed, is what's happened with that portfolio, right? Because very often the risk tolerance that you've started with is not the risk tolerance you have currently. Look, the truth is the markets are up 8 out of every 10 years, something like that, right? Yeah, the down years are bad, and we kind of tend to feel those more than we feel the good years, right? But as the markets grow, that risk you started off with, where we use a kind of a scale of 1 out of 10 as an easy kind of gauge of where your risk is. If you started with a 5 out of 10 for your risk, it's very possible that without active oversight of that portfolio, it's not a 5 anymore. It's a 6 or it's a 7 or it's an 8. So is your risk tolerance also lined up with everything? And then we won't make a Roth conversion move until the end of the year, because we need to get kind of all those numbers as close to possible. But we start investigating, what is this going to start looking like if we do a Roth conversion at the end of the year as well?
So when you talk about how your risk profile could change, is that just mainly because of growth? You put money into the market, you select your stocks, you select your indexes, all these different things. And then if you have tremendous growth in a certain area, all of a sudden, like if you said, let's get into tech, Jay. So you got into tech, and then tech went crazy this year. So now all of a sudden you're way out there and you're overweighted in that particular sector. You kind of have to bump that back into where it's supposed to be.
Yeah, so, just the issue is typically larger that we see. You said, hey, how do you address it for existing clients? How does it look at for anybody who comes in for a meeting? Very often, we might see somebody who hasn't had their portfolio looked at for 2, 3, 4 years.
Got it.
And if you look back at the last 3.5 years we've had, 23, 24, 25, halfway through this year as well, that 5 out of 10 risks that you wanted to start with might be an 8 or a 9, because the growth has just been absolutely incredible. Now, the growth is great. That's good. Great that you got into that. You took that growth. Do you want to remain that risky through your retirement? Most people don't. And most people, it's easy to see the headline number. Hey, my $1 million has grown to $1.3 million, $1.4 million. That's fantastic. That's really good that you got that growth. It's better than going the other way, right? Yeah. That's for sure. Now, do you want to leave all those? The way I look at it is, I'm not much of a gambler, but if I go to Vegas, I might take a couple $100, play craps, and then half an hour I'm done, right? There's something you can do in craps called pressing a unit. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, you get your winnings. You're like, hey, don't give me the winnings. Just put it back on the table. Yep. And if someone's on a hot streak, well, it's good. Like it keeps paying off. Well, eventually, some guy's going to pick up that dice, and he's just not a shooter, right? And do you want to keep pressing that unit over and over and over again? Or do you want to take some of it off and put it in your bank, so to speak? Maybe this is the right time for that.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the right time. You've been invested in 23 and 24 and 25, and you're halfway through 26. Do you want to keep leaving those winnings on the table, or is it time to take some of those off the table? Might be a good time to look at that.
You're listening to Clear Skies Retirement with Jay Kirkwood at Secure Financial Management. Online, you can find Jay at retire210.com. I encourage you to do that. If you haven't had this conversation about your retirement and how it's really going to work, you haven't chosen that person who's going to kind of walk with you through this journey that you're about to go into. That's why we have this show, to introduce you to Jay and talk about his process and how he helps people retire. And one of the things that I think about too, Jay, is, and it doesn't have to happen at a scheduled meeting, this needs to be in a relationship that you have with your advisor, that when something changes in your life, you need to talk through that. Now, it might be, hey, I just got a bad diagnosis from the doctor and we're going to have to do some things and my medical stuff is going to go up. It could be that, or it could be, hey, we went on vacation and we found the perfect condo in the perfect place and we want to see if we can maybe go there not 2 weeks a year, how about a couple of months out of the year? So those are examples of good changes, bad changes that need to be talked about and have some financial backing.
Yeah, that's right. And like the best example I can give you of that is on what day was it? On Tuesday, I just had a follow-up conversation with client number one.
Really?
At Secure Financial Management.
Been around a while.
Client number one, 15 years ago.
Okay.
Right? She started with us, and she's very proud too. Like if she calls into the office and she talks to one of the newer girls, she's like, "Yeah, I'm client number one." Just so you are aware of that, right?
I love it.
Because I talked to one of the girls and she's mentioned something. I was like, "How did you know that?" She's like, "Oh, she told me." Like she was very aware of it. It's pretty cool, right? She doesn't even live here anymore. She lives in Florida now.
Okay.
And in that 15 years, she's gotten married. She's moved to Florida. All these, sold a house, bought a house, all these different things. And so when you talk about it being a relationship for a long time, and all these different things are going to come up, some good, some bad, that's life, right? That's what happens. Yeah, you're exactly right. And we even make a point of mentioning this to clients when we're creating a financial plan for them. And we gather all the information and we basically interview them for, what are you trying to achieve in retirement? What have we got to work with? What are your goals? Do you want to leave an estate? Yes, no. Do you want to travel? Yes, no. Is there a set? Whatever it might be. And we finally get that all together and we have results. And usually those results are positive. Sometimes we tell people, hey, the retirement you want to live, that's not practical, but here's what it is, right? Usually we get to deliver good news because the people that come and meet with us have done a great job saving and we're able to give them good news. But we're projecting that out 25, 30, 35 years, right? Depending on how old this person is when they retire. And what I say to them, what the other advisors say is, this is the picture at this moment in time. The only thing I can guarantee you is that it is not going to unfold exactly like this. It's just not.
Yep.
And that's why it's so important that we stay on top of this. We have these meetings. We're on top of changes that happen in your life. So it doesn't mean that blows the plan up, but it means we can pivot. We can get a new direction charted to overcome any of those unexpected obstacles.
Yeah, I think that the main difference here is this is not a transactional kind of thing. You go to the store, you buy a shirt, and you walk out of the store. You may never walk in there again. That's not what financial planning and retirement planning is.
It shouldn't be.
Yeah,
it shouldn't be. Right?
Exactly right.
We often have people that come to us that's just like, we set this up and I haven't looked at it. Not that they haven't looked at it. There hasn't been a review on it in years.
Yeah, not the relationship you want.
It shouldn't be. Yeah.
Well, to sit down with Jay and kick the tires on Secure Financial Management, let's just do that. Let's see if it's a good fit. Retire210.com is the website. Retire210.com. Place for you to put some information in there. The team reaches out to you, or you can skip that and reach out to them right now. It's 210-985-6200. 210-985-6200. Let's get a date on a calendar. No cost, no obligation. Let's sit down and talk about your retirement and get your concerns out on the table. That is all the time that we have on Clear Skies Retirement for today with Jay Kirkwood. We hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time. And remember to have this podcast delivered straight to your favorite podcast platform by hitting like, follow, or the subscribe button. Thanks again for listening to Clear Skies Retirement, and we'll see you next time.
Investment advisory services offered through investment advisory representatives at Secure Financial Management, a registered investment advisor. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed are not designed nor intended to be applicable to any person's individual circumstances. It should not be considered as investment advice, nor does it constitute a recommendation that anyone engage in or refrain from a particular course of action. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments can fluctuate, and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Secure Financial Management is licensed in your state, please contact their office. Secure Financial Management is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Wholesalers Insurance. Jamin J. Kirkwood, Texas Insurance License number 1421850.